good, guys? My name is pt.2, and today we are going to be talking about another theory. Let's go. Before we start the next theory, let's address the last theory. The theory that Sylvie, aka female Loki, was a good variant. Alright, this is what I mean, alright, when I say that. If you look back at the thumbnail, you look back in the scene of episode 4, I kept saying episode 5, but it was episode 4. She was playing with her dolls. She was talking about the Valkyrie, the hero, the strongest female warriors in Asgard. She wanted to be like them. She wanted to be a hero. She had no intention, none, of being a Loki, being a god of mischief. None of that. And as you can, if you go back to how their discussion, her and Loki, with how they were talking, she was just like, well, I didn't know my mom that much. I taught myself magic. They told me about my history. So I was content. And that made me think that Loki, if he was told earlier, he'd probably been a good Loki. And he probably would become a variant too. Because I believe the reason why the Time Lords wanted to get her out of her timeline and erase it was because she was a good Loki. She was a hero. She was going to be a hero. And I think that's where all the other Lokis, that's why they're in that little timeline. But we're going to discuss that later. Alright, now let's talk about this theory. All about the sacred timeline. Now, I heard two things, right? One, the Time Lords. This is a theory that a lot of folks were talking about, including my friends, that the Time Lords were killed by Kang the Conqueror. The Kang the Conqueror is over all the TVA. He's the main villain, and he wants this timeline sacred. He wants to keep that timeline. It's because that timeline is the timeline that he is on. That's his timeline. That's where he can go and come. And it's the way it's supposed to be for him. It's the way that he envisioned it. Everything that goes down in the future is because of the timeline that he was on. And he likes that timeline. He likes that the way it is. And how it end up being in the future. How he end up becoming Immortus, or if they go by that storyline, or just Kang. Like how he became the god of that universe. And he wants that timeline kept that same way. He don't want no diversions from the timeline because he knows that if it's a diversion, if any of the timelines diverge, it could be madness. Multiverse of madness. So he created a sacred timeline. Well, he didn't create the sacred timeline. Well, yeah, he probably did. He created the sacred timeline using the power of the Time Lords that he killed to keep the timeline stable and make sure everything happens like it's supposed to. So no timeline has a character that can become potentially a Nexus being like Scarlet Witch, and that's his biggest fear. This is why I think it leads up to the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange movie. I believe during that time, Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange and a few other variants, they're all gonna come together to stop Kang the Conqueror. That's just one of the second timeline theories. The other one is that the Kang the Conqueror is not the main villain. The actual Time Lords are the main villain. That was Beyond the We ain't talking about Beyond the 2, bro. But the TVA was created by the Time Lords, right? I guess they're the Time Lords. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they were created. The TVA were created by the Time Lord because the Time Lords wanted to keep the sacred timeline sacred, and they don't want anything diverged. You know, all that blah 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 blah. Why I just say it, right? Well, maybe the reason why they want the timeline so sacred because they've seen all of the multiverse. They were near the end, not as much as the one before, the one above all, but they were there. They were at the end in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if they were at the end of time, the end of multiverse, they saw everything that happened, and they was like, this whole time, this timeline, everything is a mess. How can we fix it? They went back to the events of the Multiverse of Madness. I believe whatever happened in Loki, whatever happens in Loki causes so many branches that it leads the segues into the Multiverse of Madness. And also Spider-Man's movie. Because you know, if you look back at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, what did all the Spider-Mans came from? They came from a dimensional gate, right? A tear in the fabric of the universe, right? That opened up multiple universes where the other Spider-Man came from, right? What if Marvel is doing that now? Yeah. What if Marvel is legit creating a multiverse of, whatever happens in Spider-Man with Loki, my bad. Whatever happens in Loki causes so many branches in the timeline that it segues into Spider-Man. And in Spider-Man, he meets all the other Spider-Man because of the tears in the fabric of the universe. Those tears that get so bad, which is why Doctor Strange is supposed to be in that movie. It gets so bad that it causes madness. Multiversal madness. And that's where it segues into Doctor Strange's movie. And the Time Lords saw that was going to happen, so they went and created the TVA to cause all the timelines to be in order, so the timeline could be sacred and everything goes their way. However, they didn't think about one variant, which is funny because it's a play on words. Whatever. One variant that caused a ripple in time, and was when they went back in time, when the Avengers went back in time and dropped the Tesseract, the one Tesseract that Loki picked up and took with him. He became a variant, and he's the only variant that can cause, him and Sylvie are the only variants that can cause so much damage to the timeline that they have to be erased, or so we thought. So those are the timeline theories, right? Let me know how y'all feel about it, because the more I look forward to episode 5 of Loki, the more I get hyped about what's going to happen. Like I said from the last video, I know there's going to be tons of videos that are going to debunk everything I'm saying. David, you don't know what you're talking about. David, you sound silly. David, I don't give a flying flip. Because this is what I feel. This is what I believe is going to happen. And if it happens, it's going to be legendary. Right here, call it. Phase 4. Out of all the parts that happened so far, all the phases that happened so far, Phase 4 is the best phase of all time. Point down, like point blank, period. Now that's it for this discussion. I had to talk about it. especially after looking at my old video and I saw but this was really good, and can't wait for the next episode, which comes out by the time of this recording tomorrow. So we're gonna do I'll do a brief review of the new Loki episode, because like I said, I really wasn't trying to do reviews on Loki because everybody was doing reviews on Loki, but I have to talk about it because I'm excited and hyped. So that's it, y'all. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go down below. Tell me how you think. What you think about what I was talking about. Do you have any theories that you want to share with me? I would love to hear them. And also, make sure. Do this for me, alright? Do this one favor for me. Comment down below. Do you believe in my theory? Oh yeah. Finally, look into my eyes when I say this. Finally, make sure you share this video with all your friends. Tell them, hey, this guy's onto something. If you believe it. That's it, y'all. This has been a grueling night. But I'm going to do a couple more recordings, and I'll get back to y'all. Thank you, guys. And as always, love y'all.